Hey beautiful people, April Mack here, coming to you live from Adelaide, from my mum's house, where I've been helping her clean out my auntie's flat, because my auntie passed away sadly. So I'm pretty tired, but that's not going to stop me coming on here and doing a live. But I will say that I might be slow getting my words out tonight, because I do feel quite tired. But I did want to jump on here because I've got a lot to say. And so I want to say it every day. I did a post a couple of days ago about the questions that people have been asking me about my business growth lately, because if anyone's been following my journey, I have had some really great growth in the last wee while. And I'll tell you a bit more about that in a minute. And so a whole bunch of questions are being thrown my way, and I thought I'll jump on here and answer them in a live each day, pretty much. I should be going live each day to answer them because there's quite a few of them. And today's question was, can anyone do what you've done, April? Which, when I say what I've done, is I went from 0 clients at the beginning of April 2020, and in September I had a whole bunch of clients from around Australia and internationally. I did my income, my business income for that month was over $13,000, and my expenses are pretty low. So that's what I'm talking about when I say, what have I done? And that's really what the question is in relation to. How did I go from 0 to that amount in 6 months? Also, in my last program launch was a 20K launch. And so that's, how did I do that? And can anyone do it is the question. So I will be telling you how I did it in the coming lives, but today's question is, can anyone do it? And my short answer to that is a resounding yes. Anyone can do it. That is my honest belief, and I'll tell you why. I'll share that with you. If you're watching on replay, #replay, so I know you are here. And if you're watching live with me, please feel free to comment and ask more questions. No questions too tricky for me. If I don't know the answer right away off the top of my head, I will get back to you. But please do feel free. I'm a very transparent person, and I love answering questions that might help you grow your own business. So the short answer was, yes, anyone can do it, but I'm going to have to add some caveats to that and let you know why I think that. So the number one thing I think that is holding most people back from growing their business rapidly and from getting that kind of level of growth is themselves. That is my honest belief. I think the vast majority of stuckness that people experience isn't because they don't know what to do. It's because they get in their own way and they, spin themselves into circles going, oh, I don't know. And actually they probably do know, or they just might need a little help from a friend or a coach or someone they trust to help them get unstuck. So it is my belief that we can all do whatever the hell we want to do. We just need to know what the steps are. That's obviously what we need to do. And that's, so many people I'm seeing already know the steps. They've done lots of courses, they've listened to endless webinars, and perhaps, some of the information they're getting is making them confused. So they're getting conflicting information, so they get confused. So my advice around any confusion is, if it's based on conflicting advice, is get unconfused by choosing one person that you trust to follow and to learn from, and do what they say or what they suggest. Don't go, cherry picking from a whole bunch of different people, because you will get conflicting advice. And that was what I used to do before I found my coach. I used to, whatever came across my feed in Facebook, the latest, and greatest bloody webinar, or, oh, try this technique. This is the best way to grow. You'll never have to do another thing again. I'd be, jumping across to different techniques, and, actually none of them worked. And so I saw someone, Carly Marie, as many of you know, is my coach, and I saw what she was doing, and it totally felt aligned with the way I wanted to do my work in the world. And so I just thought I'm going to stick with her. And even after I started following her and listening to what she was saying and trying her approaches, when it didn't quite happen fast enough, I did think about going, down a different track. Like I thought about doing paid Facebook ads, and I even asked her about it recently. And it's not what she does, and it's not what she teaches, and it's not that she's against it, it's just not her approach. And so I thought, no, stick with it. Just stick with what she's telling you to do and what she herself is doing successfully, and see what happens. And yes, it happened for me. Like, it's happening. My growth is really fantastic. It's sustained growth. It's early days. Yes, it is. But I do have an awesome following, and I've got people who keep buying from me and repeat customers. So I know that I'm on to something really awesome. And so I believe my growth will be sustained. And that's another question I'm going to address in a different live. So it's not kind of just a once-off thing. It's really been, like each month my growth was doubling on the month before. And I did it all without paid ads. I don't pay for Facebook ads, and I didn't pay for any advertising whatsoever. It was all what I could get exposed to here on Facebook and using organic growth methods, which are super simple. Like, I could tell you them here now in 5 minutes. It's basically have an open Facebook profile. My personal profile is open. People that land there, I make sure that, I'm doing interesting stuff on my personal profile, and I keep calling them across to my business page saying, if you want to know more, come and check me out there. On my business page is where I do my selling, and I sell in a way that feels magical because I'm really proud. I'm really proud of what I produce, and I'm really proud of my programs, and I love talking about them. And I'll be talking about my latest program here tonight because I'm not afraid to talk about it, because I know it's a gift to people who need what I have to offer. And so that's part of what I teach, is how to sell your gifts in a way that feels beautiful for you. It doesn't have to feel hard. So that's one of the, I guess, for me, one of the shifts came when I was really ready to talk about what I'm here to sell. Because quite often I'll go and have a look at my clients' Facebook sites, and I'll say, do you know what? I can't even tell what you're selling. Like, I don't even know what you're selling. Like, are you selling anything? Like, I can't see any links to anything. I can't see any posts that have a call to action that talks about what you're selling, inviting people into your beautiful offerings. I can't see it. And so if I can't see it, then nobody else can, and people won't buy. So, like, getting good at selling is really critical. It's a critical foundational piece if you want to make money, kind of thing. And I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to do it gracefully. I didn't know how to do it in a way that felt really, really good. Now I do, and it's made a big, big difference. So it's one of the things I teach. And I am running a program that starts in early November, and I'm inviting people into it. It's a beautiful program, and it's basically for all the people who know all the steps, kind of like know them on one level, but are stuck at the implementation phase. So they've done lots of training, they've done lots of webinars, they've done lots of courses. You might have done Carly Marie's courses, you might have done some of mine, but actually the implementation just you haven't quite nailed that bit. So that's what I'm helping with, because I'm really, really good at implementing. So I'm good at learning things quickly, but really where I think where one of my superpowers is implementing. So I'm creating this program that's designed to help people with that phase, because I see that it's where people struggle. Like, they have all the knowledge. It's just that final step, that maybe they need a little bit of accountability and they need something to help them get unstuck. And that's what my program is that I'm running at the moment. Or it's not running yet, but it will be. So if you want to know more, just let me know. But just in terms of the question that I was here to answer, I just went off track there for a little, an important off-track sideline. But I want to come back to the question, can anyone do what I've done? Absolutely. The steps are the easy bit, like knowing what steps to do. There's courses, there's so much information out there that will tell you the steps. I can tell you the steps really simply. But as I said to you, the biggest thing that gets in the way is our own limiting beliefs about what we can and can't do. And we start going round and round in circles. And so just helping you get unstuck with that is what I think is really useful. And so once you do that, anyone can do what I've done. You don't need special skills. The best thing you can do really is if you're doing something similar to me, like you're a coach or you're running programs, if you are prepared to share and deliver the programs where the content is stuff that you are passionate about and you know a lot about, then absolutely you can just launch lots of beautiful programs and always be launching something of value to people. It's not hard. It's really, really, really not hard once you know how. So that's another area that I'm helping people with, is really understanding how a launch strategy and knowing, what steps to take throughout the launch and how to launch really easily. How to do that is something else that I'm sharing with people in my course, Implement Like a Boss, it's called. So it's all that, that final, the pointy end of actually getting people into your programs or getting people to buy your services. What else is a barrier for people that might get in the way? Let me just have a look. I've got some notes here. One thing, like if you want organic growth in the way that I've achieved it, you do have to show up and use social media quite a bit, maybe more than you are used to, and for some people more than they want to. And, you've got to feel good about that. Like, so if you don't love coming on and doing a live, but you know the value of lives, then my suggestion is, and you want to do it, get your exposure for free, then you kind of need to feel comfortable with that. Like, it's, for me, my lives have really helped. It's helped strangers buy my stuff because they see enough of me and they get enough of, of a feel for how I work, that they feel confident to part with their money without me having to have much of a chat with them first. Some people, for a really intensive program, for like something a bit more expensive, I will have a chat with them. But for small courses that are fairly inexpensive, I have people sign up with me who I've never met. They've never met me, and suddenly they're in my course and having parted with money quite, for them it's a no-brainer because they've seen enough of me in my lives to know, yeah, she's someone I trust and I like the way she works. And so that's the benefit of doing lives, that people get to know you really, really quickly. If you're only doing written posts, we all know that we can hide behind writing, and yes, we can reveal lots of things, but we don't really get a true sense of someone just through their writing often. The lives, it happens quicker with lives. So I really do recommend it for people who are wanting rapid growth, that you consider using lives for that purpose. And, if you don't know how to do lives and you feel really, really uncomfortable, then, you've got to go through a process to get comfortable with it. And so I've got a course called Loving Your Live Streams, which, is in self-study mode. You can do that, or there's lots of courses out there. But, it doesn't take long if you're prepared to do it. And you also need to be prepared to suck at it first. Like if you look back on my journey, if you go back to my lives from 6 months ago, they are so shit. They are so terrible. And, like I'm still learning. My lives are still, sometimes really crappy, but it's not going to stop me. It's not going to stop me getting on here and doing what I'm here to do. So having that mentality of just going, yes, I'm going to suck at it, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm just going to get out of my own way and bloody well get this stuff out there. That is the attitude that you need to have. That's the attitude that will help you grow really rapidly, grow a following, grow your business, and get stuff done. And you might start off going in one direction, change direction later. It's totally fine. It's just important to start. What else did I have to say? I did want to make a caveat to say that, yes, anyone can do what I've done. However, it's not always a level playing field. And I just want to acknowledge that for people with young children, that maybe have children at home with them, or people who are in lockdown with kids who are being homeschooled, or any kind of situation that's not ideal. Maybe you're working full time and you're doing, starting your business as a side business, so you don't have as much time to invest. All of these things mean that it's not a level playing field. So I'm not going to say to you, yeah, you can do what I did, and if you can't, then there's something wrong. That's not. I've had support in the sense that I had enough money to be able to support myself while I built my business, so that I didn't have to work full time. Previously, I had to work full time and I had one foot in both camps. When I finally got to let go of my corporate jobs, I used to work in corporate, had, big jobs, but, I was doing lots of contracting. And when I was trying to juggle the two, I found it really hard. I found it really hard to get traction. So for me, having time to spend full time on my business was pretty much a game changer for me. It really was. So I'm not going to say anyone can do it and you can do it in your spare time. I'm not going to say that. If there's any way that you can, if you have to work, either work less and take a couple of days off per week and do without some fancy items that you've got, that would be ideal. Or if you can get support for a while, or if you can save up some money so that you can just get a chunk of time where, because it takes a good, it took me a good 4 to 5 months to really establish myself and get to the point where the income was enough. And then the following month, in the 6th month, was when I hit, the over the, 5-figure month. So, because mine just doubled each month, but I needed to have that time to invest in the business. I think because I haven't, it's not like I've only been doing this for 6 months. I was, trying to get my business off the ground whilst also working in the corporate world, and it was tricky. So I'm not going to lie to you and say, oh, it's easy and you can just do it. It does take determination and it does take some hard work. The benefit is that now I get to work the hours I choose. I really do make a really good income, and it's part-time hours, and I choose the hours. That's the benefit, and I do it all from home. So it's bloody awesome, but it wasn't, easy street the whole way here. It's been, lots of ups and downs. So, but totally doable. Even if you're working full time, I do believe you could do it. It could take longer, and if you've got children, still it's gonna be a more of a juggling act. But I'm not saying you can't do it if you've got those things. So don't think I'm saying, oh, you've got an excuse. You can't do what I've done just because you've got children at home, whatever. I see people like, Carly Marie, who I follow. She's got little ones, and she's done it. And I know lots of other people have too. So ask yourself if you're using those as an excuse. Sometimes I'll have lives and my children will be in the live because I just can't get them to stay out. And that's okay, like I've decided that that's going to be okay. Let's have a look. That's really all I had to say. I'm just going to check if anyone's got any questions whatsoever. Like, I'm seeing just a couple of people on. I'm not seeing any questions. I'm just going to give it 1 or 2 moments more for you to think of any questions. If you're watching live and you've got a question, please do share it here. And if you're watching on replay, please do feel free to leave a question because I will definitely come back and look at those. So while you're thinking, those here watching, I'm just going to wrap up, but I'm going to let you know that I am running a beautiful program called Implement Like a Boss. And the whole point of it is to help people who are stuck at that implementation phase and who haven't quite got the traction that they wanted in their business. And so it's going to involve group coaching. It's 5 weeks, $555. It'll group coaching. It'll also have, sorry, I'm just going to turn that off. That, I don't know if you heard that buzzing sound. Yeah, group coaching, training, all the things that you need to get totally unstuck and to finally implement what you're here to implement. So I'll teach you some steps. Any steps that you think are missing that you haven't quite got the hang of, I'll be teaching you those. Basically anything that I've done in the last 6 months, I will be teaching that anything that's missing, as well as doing group coaching. So it's going to be pretty cool. It'll also be a bit of an accountability group. So we'll do a bit of training at the beginning of each week. And then at the end of the week, we'll do a Zoom session together, and anyone who's stuck or got further questions, we'll just nut those out and everyone will get their stuff done. So hopefully by the end of the program, you will absolutely have launched and be ready to keep launching all the beautiful gifts that you've got to share with the world. So now let me see. I see a question here from Margalie. Hello, beautiful Margalie. I'm wondering why it would take longer when we are working. I'm just wondering what would be different if I would be at home and looking at home. For me, I would say, Margalie, there is quite a lot to do in the early phases. Well, I found there was. So, and also just having the focus, the ability to get on and get behind everything and bring the energy into it that I wanted to be able to bring to it. So I know you do, I'm pretty sure you do lives every day. So that, you're doing the work. So you absolutely can do it. But being able to get out and speak on various stages, doing lives at different times of the day, so they're not always at the same time in the evenings. For me, I set up my foundation pieces, which included having a website, and always launching something new. So throwing together courses, and when I say throwing together, that is kind of what it's like. It's like, oh, what's my next course? I'm launching something different every couple of weeks. And I just don't think that I would have the energy to create course after course after course if I was working full time. And that's why I think it might take longer, because part of what has led to my growth, I believe, is the fact that I'm always doing something new. I'm always around. People are starting to get to know me. I'm out and, I am quite, a fair bit. I'm on social media. I am on quite a bit. Not hours and hours a day, but I'm on every day and I'm commenting on other people's stuff, which, supports the algorithms that help keep traffic coming your way. I'm in groups and I'm always learning a lot of new stuff, which is part of the fuel and the information that I then share. So for me, I just feel like I would have really, really struggled. And I did struggle before that. When I was working, I struggled to get that level of traction and momentum. So hopefully that, it sounds like you do understand. So yes, I would have got, because for me, the first course I created, I've created 7 courses, and I've created a mastermind group, and I did a program, a really deep intensive program that was a $20,000 launch last month. I couldn't have done all that. I absolutely couldn't have done all that if I was working full time. I just don't believe I could have. So that's why I think it's been quicker. Yeah. So hopefully that answers other people's questions too. I will be coming on here and doing lots more of this over the next few weeks. And I will be talking about Implement Like a Boss. So each time I do, if you already have heard what it is and, you've got the details, you don't have to hang around. So that's it for tonight. I shall see you all online soon. I'll probably be back on tomorrow night. Have a beautiful evening or a beautiful morning wherever you are in the world. Lots of love. Bye for now.